What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. Just want to make a kind of a quick little video here. Wanted to go over, as I take off my headphones, go over a Twitter post, Twitter X, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't care either way. The main thing is I don't really get on Twitter, so Joe saw this post by Alex Hodges that I wanted to go over and kind of give my thoughts on it as well and everything. I will say I do agree with a lot of the things that Alex says in this post, and I feel it's something that needs to be brought to the forefront of a lot of Weiss players' minds, so that the next time like Bushiro does a survey or something, I really think this would be something players could push for and try to talk about in the surveys, or if they're like, hey, what would you like to see in Weiss Schwarz? And let's dive right into it. The main thing for this is he talks about if there was a online client, basically a game you could play on the computer or a phone game for Weiss Schwarz. Like, imagine how they have Master Duel for Yu-Gi-Oh! I know the One Piece TCG has like a little tutorial game thing. Shadowverse. Like, Shadowverse is one of the series that Bushiroad is trying to push really hard because it's now in a card game form. It was a online game. I think it was a phone game. I could be wrong, but I know it was a online game for a very long time, for years before it ever got a TCG. And now that it's in TCG format, Bushiroad is really pushing for it. And, you know, for understandable reasons, they own the rights to it, to my knowledge. But this is something very big because there's a lot of really popular apps on the phone and whatnot that people do play on the regular, and it helps. Especially, I'm going to take an example of, especially during the pandemic with COVID, where you couldn't play in person. Bushi did try to institute the online Rumble, and so players could still play in some tournaments and whatnot, even during the pandemic where you couldn't meet up and play. But stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel took off like crazy. And Alex basically kind of talks about that with this, stating that, like, if Bushiroad went through with this, went through making an online client, a phone game, something, that it would become huge. Let's just proceed to read through this and let's talk about it. So, rant. The holy prophecy of a Weiss Schwarz online card game. So, if at Weiss Schwarz EN, which is the official Weiss TCG Twitter thing, had an online client, it would be the fourth largest player card game internationally in 1 to 3 years. A very bold claim, but I agree with it. I agree it would get massive if it did this. Just imagine all the different IPs. And once again, he talks about this as well. There's so many IPs that people would join in just because, oh, look, my favorite anime is in this. So obviously, and he obviously answers questions that he feel would come to the forefront of people's minds at this. And there's, obviously the first question is, how would it do so? Once again, it would be the Super Smash Brothers of card games. Yes, it would. Think Super Smash Brothers pulls characters from all of their different games. Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda, Star Fox, all these different games. And obviously they brought in like fucking Solid Snake and Fire Emblem characters. All sorts of stuff get pulled into the same thing, into the same arena, and you get to fight it out with them. You get Sonic the Hedgehog fighting Mewtwo, fighting Kirby, etc. You know what it is. Imagine a game, a card game that did all that as well. Oh wait, it exists. It's called fucking Weiss Schwarz. It said, so why don't they just do it? And that's the biggest thing that obviously he talks about, and is like, we can understand, like, what would hold them back. He says, I'm sure many of my friends are already screaming at me through their Androids and phones, licensing dumbass. The biggest challenge at Bushiroad Global Faces is the majority of Weiss Schwarz card art is licensed from different, separate, very in-demand IPs. Weiss obviously has to pay, Bushiroad has to pay for the art from each of the series, for Attack on Titan, for Sword Art Online, but think that, they own the rights to Bang Dream. They own the rights, if I'm not mistaken, to Love Live. I think, don't hold me to this, I think there's D4DJ that they own as well in JP. So there's several series that they own the rights to that could easily be brought into this, let's be real, and then slowly work it in. That's just my opinion. But so how could it be done? And he lists several, like, what I feel could be somewhat viable, but then obviously he puts out some ideas that he's like, nah, this ain't gonna happen. But let's look at it. So first possible route, a low budget rollout, 1 to 3 sets per year, 1 to 3 sets year one. Sorry, I misread that. Exclusively featuring Weiss Schwarz IP/artworks as a proof of concept. Kind of like get people interested in it. I could see that happening. Directly collaborate and structure the game with longtime partners like Hololive, Atlas, Persona, for real. And, split the revenue, cut licensing cost. If all those people like Hololive and Atlas were to pool their resources, then it's not all falling on Bushiroad. That would be amazing. If you in-demand IPs year one for more day one draw, just being able to go, okay, we have Attack on Titan, we have SAO, we have all these popular series. The list could go on and on and on. Obviously the thing is like, Bushiroad just decides to whale on it and acquire licenses for a bunch of the sets day one. He obviously says that's probably never, ever, ever going to happen, and I fully understand that and agree with it. Says there is no realistic scenario where we see every set on day one like Master Duel. Obviously because Master Duel, Yu-Gi-Oh owns all the rights to every fucking set. It's their prerogative. Or I don't know what PTCGO Live is. I don't know what that is. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. Or Pokemon TCG Online. Okay. And leadership at Bushiroad may see this deficiency as a non-starter for the project. By necessity, they would almost need to restart this 16-year-old game in a way. But once again, other games have done that. And you can also kind of think of the reverse for Shadowverse. They're willing to undertake that with Shadowverse, where Shadowverse had been on the online, the mobile version for years. I don't know exactly how many years, and forgive me for not researching that beforehand. But now they're like, okay, but we're going to go and we're going to now try to put it in a card game form, in a physical form. And they only have a couple sets out right now. I want to say 3 or 4 at most, as of the recording of this. So, I mean, like, it was the same concept of something that was long established. I mean, obviously not 16 years worth, but still many years worth. Let's be fair. But then they decided to, basically start it from scratch in a card game form. So they've done this with Shadowverse. So, and hell, I didn't even read the very next thing. Imagine if Shadowverse JP did things in reverse with some major differences. They essentially did. So, once they choose any of those routes, obviously, there's a whole bunch of other little nuances that do go into this. And from what I understand, Alex Hodges has done a lot of his own research and talking with people, so he knows the ins and outs of a lot of these. He's a really cool dude. Says the floodgates for advertising, data capture, microtransactions, accessibility, free game promo from streamers now promoting the hows and whys globally 24/7 and much more is wide open. I fully agree with this. You literally have people constantly getting sponsorships for Raid, Shadow Legends, etc. I mean, hell, I actively play like Honkai Star Rail and whatnot because I saw people talking about it and advertising it. So, I mean, picture the scene of the Holy Grail overflowing at the end of Fate Zero. This is that. But also don't picture it too clearly. I don't have the licensing to make this metaphor without being sued. His humor is on point. Love it. The potential for an avalanche emerges in a way we can never expect with the current in-person exclusive we enjoy today. What this basically means is, obviously, we're so used to playing in person and everything, but being able to expand out to the online market, to the phone market. Oh, look, it's a free app that you can download. You got some microtransactions and shit. Cool. But then you get people into the fucking game. Like, then you get people And that's something I try to advocate so much with budget decks, with being able to take 2 trial decks, smash them together and stuff like that. I make so much content on this channel to try to push getting people into the game, or ways that people can get into the game. And Alex has also done that a whole bunch as well. He's advocated for, trying to get people into the game a whole lot, and in many different ways. He has a really, really awesome approach to it. And this is, basically the same thing. Imagine how many people we would get playing this game, because it pulls from all of these series, from all the games, anime, manga, etc. Just light novels, everything. Or not light, well, visual novels, all that shit. Well, I guess light novels as well, because you got Dengeki Bunko. As someone working with larger companies / organizations than Bushiroad, who's seen apps go from proposal to online store, and ultimately has realistic expectations for product performance, user capture, etc., this is a no-brainer. What I literally just said, he's worked with these kinds of people. He has worked in like app development, if I'm not mistaken. He mentions that like further down, where he has this experience. He's like, look, it's very possible. It can be done. Because the very flip side of this coin is a looming what-if scenario. What if Union Arena, which is like a new card game as well, or Build Divide does what I'm describing before Weiss? While Weiss enjoys the anime game legacy over their competitors today, that won't matter if audiences over the next 2 years are bombarded, scooted up, by a competing anime game, quote unquote, with better accessibility. Yes, and that's the biggest word for the whole idea of a phone app: accessibility to people. Because right now, obviously, even with the videos that I make, I'm not passing out cards for free with every video. It still requires the person to see the videos for trial decks, for deck profiles. For the most part, outside of like downloading the simulator or something, for the most part, because outside of the simulator, there's nothing else, no official thing that Bushiroad has, they have to go out of their way and spend money. Like, that's what they have to be able to do. They have to be able to spend the money to go, okay, cool. I see this series. I see this deck that I can build, from me, from one of the many other wonderful content creators on the platform, or Alex or anybody else. They go, okay, cool. I see this. I want to build this. Okay, now I have to spend money, and now I have to learn how to play the game. Because you got to have the cards to be able to play the game, right? Like, let's be real. Having the accessibility is huge. With a phone app, with anything of that nature, I fully believe this would be great. It didn't take one piece long to siphon several thousand Weiss players globally, and an online client would only multiply and accelerate that capture rate dramatically. Like I said, One Piece has like a little phone app that does like a tutorial thing of how to play the game. Imagine if they turned that straight into like a Master Duel style thing. Like, that would be crazy. So, and he obviously, talks about a little bit more of the finer details. He's like, I know how much it costs to build out apps and sites, the potential and the risk. He understands, even despite this proposal, that there are many risks involved, but the payoff is major. These aren't unknowable figures and misty projections. It'd be a rough train to get moving, but when they do reach the destination, they're 5 to 10 timing their annual revenue, and 2 timing versus 2 timing breaking even or losing money for the next few years. I do not feel they would lose out at all. I really don't. I feel it would pull in so many people, they would immediately see results. I really, really do. Obviously, once again, from the routes that Alex proposed, it depends on the route, but I do feel it's very doable. He says, I love this game, and selfishly, I want to play it on my phone with friends on Discord when I can't make it to locals. Bro, you are preaching to the choir on this. With me being a truck driver, I have not been able to play as much as I wanted to over the past several years. Obviously, once again, there was the COVID situation. We hit another pandemic. I don't know if Weiss is going to last. Like, let's be real. I am so glad that it lasted through the pandemic, and other card games did as well. But they had to take alternate routes to be able to keep their card games going. And you know it, I know it, everyone does. That said, they can make a bunch of money. If I can do that, it's a win-win. So, being able to do this would be amazing. And obviously, there you go. He posted a little picture of basically this is a manual client, if I'm not mistaken, that's online. I do have a point I want to make about that at the very end. I feel it needs to be automated, just like Master Duel. It needs to be automated. I'll explain in a second. He says, I also want Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic and Pokemon players to experience bottom decking a standbyed out 1/1 Nino with the Xion Bomb. It seems like he has a vendetta against Nino. That said, I don't expect it to happen until Weiss makes an effort to come to them. Anyway, I'm going to lay back down now. I have a pinched nerve in my thoracic spine, and it hurts to breathe. Bro, I am very sorry. I hope you feel better. I really, really hope that you're able to get that taken care of very soon. Pinching nerves is horrible. I get it. I've done it before. So, yeah, I fully agree with everything that he said here. It's just a matter of, like, kind of hearing it from the players as well. And like I said, I feel especially if it is a manual game, the Weiss Schwarz simulator that we use on the channel is automated. Where basically, yes, there's bugs and stuff that have happened in any game that's automated. You can run into bugs, like that's happened. But I feel it is such a good learning tool that it is worth it. One, it's free to download. The guys who have worked on it, Blake and all of them, they have done such an amazing job working on that simulator. I use it on the daily when I'm home. I look over stuff. I test play out stuff so much. I play against Moroku all the time. Play test against Joe a lot. I fully believe like an automated thing like that is going to be way better than a manual one like Dueling Book or anything of that nature. I do not think something where someone has to manually turn the cards on an online app or whatever. I do not think that would do well. I think it needs to be manual. That's just me. I think it needs to be automatic. That's what I meant to say. That is the clarified thing there. I really, really think that, yes, if Bushi got off their butt and did this, it would be amazing. But I do feel that you, as the player, watching this video, and I myself as well, when Bushi does these like surveys for stuff, I really, really feel they need, like, people need to start, go on those and start saying, hey, can we get a phone app? Like, hey, can we get some kind of app to play on the go, to play online because X reason. I can't make it because of work. I can't play at locals because of work. I can't afford, spending that much on a case or some shit. I really, really feel it would work out. I honestly, I feel collaborating with like HoloLive or Atlas to be able to do this would be the best solution. That's just me, so that they don't immediately incur that level of risk of having been the ones to spend all the money. They could be like, hey guys, we want to do this, but we know there's some risk involved. Y'all in or not? I really think they would do it. I mean, hell, think about it. Atlas with Persona. They could even talk to Atlas because Atlas is making the Persona 5 Phantom X game, which isn't in English just yet. But that's a phone game. They're undertaking that. They could talk to Atlas like, hey, how was this? What do you think we could do on this one? You could even have collabs between Persona 5 in their game with Weiss or something. I don't know. It'd be so cool. I feel there's something very viable with this, and I feel that it's something players need to start telling Bushi that this is something they want. That's just my opinion. Wanted to get it out there real quick. I fully agree with Alex. Please, even though I don't mess with Twitter or whatever, go follow him. Go, check out more of his content, and also, say a prayer for him for his back. Hope he feels better. So. Thank you all very much for watching. This is something I'm very passionate about, and I definitely agree with him on this. I just wanted to give my 2 cents and just kind of elaborate on stuff as well, because I really, really like I love this post. I really hope that it gets people moving. So thank y'all very much. See y'all on the flip side. Peace.